Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where today we're breaking down all the goals scored in Aston Villa against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. And Villa should have won this, really. PSG, they were in that sort of collapse mode, and when you can get a team in that sort of collapse mode, and you've just recently scored 2 quick goals on them, you need to keep going and finishing. We're going to get to that as well. And I think and I like Unai Emery. I think he's fantastic, but I think he made a couple of mistakes. And it wasn't about taking Rashford off. It was more about taking McGinn off and that solidness that they had at that one point. And also, I think he should have kept Rashford on and got rid of Rodgers because I think he was rubbish on the night. But we've got a couple of things to talk about right here. And I'm going to show you the difference of disciplined players. And I mean, there's so many things wrong at this high level of football, and you're going to see it as soon as I start pointing it out to you, right? And I'm also doing a flat back for coaching understanding little course. You'll see it coming out in the next couple of days, and it'll also be part 2 on Patreon. It's for free because I can say a lot more over there than I can here. So if you want to follow me over on Patreon, do that, because you'll see a lot more content and a lot more explainy stuff. So right now we can see Rashford loses the ball, right? Okay, fine. There's a bigger problem to me than that. Like, he's trying to run into the box here when he has all this extra space to pull them apart. He still doesn't understand this at his age, and no one's ever explained this to him. Stop trying to penetrate the box. You're isolated 1v1 out here. He's got back up with another player supporting him. Get away, pull out the space and whip in across. Because if you do that, you'll be much more rewarded than trying to run into traffic that he does all day, every day. Now, of course, that is like the first problem, right? When you lose possession of the ball. But that isn't the massive factor. And this is where you listen to these sports pundits and these people on TV that absolutely know nothing about football ever. That's not the mistake. This is the mistake right here. That's the problem. Your right back's gone up. You are covering for him. You cannot leave and start pressuring the ball up here, right? You can see our 3. We've got our 2 shielding us in front of us there. These 2 players have to stay put because I think it's Matty Cash, best name in the world, it's gone forward, and you cannot expect him to come back and cover from that player there. That's why you have 2 sitting midfielders to come in and cover that gap. Okay. And by the way, one of them can push. You've got 2 midfielders. Guess which one can push? That one, because he's got cover behind him. This one can't, because he's got to be covering that gap there, right? I mean, this is, it's basics. I can go on for days and days of how important this is. So as we move this forward ever so slightly, bump, you can see he's going for a wander. Starts going for a wander up here. It's not his responsibility. He can't get involved. Because remember, when you go forward, what do you leave behind you? Space. What's more dangerous than the ball is space when you're in this half of the field. Okay, the ball is not dangerous here. They cannot score from here. If you move up and give them that space, they can. Watch this space open up as we move it forward ever so slightly. Look how far he's gone. Okay, so he's moved from about there all the way to about there. He still can't put pressure on the ball, obviously, because he's just too far away. That's why you don't want. One of the other reasons you don't go. Look at the space that's opened up now. Boom. Miles of it. Well, you actually do. I mean, there's loads of it because he's gone for a wander. You can't be pressuring the ball there. You're just not. You don't have the right team structure right now. You have to just drop off and back and make sure everyone's okay. They don't even think about that. Boom. Look how bad it is. Look how bad it is. He's completely and utterly not goal side. He can't do anything about it. They'll all blame the right back, but the right back was on the 18-yard line up here. The centre midfielder was perfectly in his spot. Did you notice the other one didn't go? Well, no. We should just be sitting here waiting, because then that means they have to pass the ball through us, which they can't because we've got structure and shape. Giving time for our right back to come back in, get a bit of organisation, and then we can go again. No, they just over-panicked, pressured the ball for no reason here, just passed straight past. Actually, it's done a little bit more cutely than that because it is played out to the space that, of course, the right back just vacated running back. Makes it even easier because now you have to go and address that. And look where he is. Oh, and we also know someone's got their hand up telling somebody what to do. So in the next 5 seconds, they're about to score a goal. Now, this goes on to the next mistake. Massive mistake. You know that's the problem. Go deal with it. You know he's not goal side. You know he can't get back. You know that ball's about to be played. You know you're not marking a player. And you know that player there can be marked by the player behind you, even if he gets close enough to you. He's not. He's a good 5-10 yards away from you. He's not your concern. It's his concern. So you know that you can cover that space and deal with that problem. Instead, you're telling a teammate to do it. Nope. Your fault. go deal with it. As soon as that ball's played, bump, off we go. Look, clearly onside. He's doing the right thing as a defender, you know, running and hugging the line, but doesn't know that the left back is completely like being lazy and would have played him on even if he had moved. Here we are in this situation. Have a little think. So he could have easily dropped and covered, right, read the situation and dealt with that. Instead, you're asking the right back who was up on the 18-yard line to come all the way back, sprint all the way back and deal the job that you should have done because you're not marking or doing anything. And look, the right back's still almost there before you. Not only that, the two centre-backs don't really put on the jets or really try to stop this ball. Remember, they were 1.5 yards ahead of, I'm not sure who's on the wing here, of the player putting the ball in. So they could have easily got there if they actually put all the effort in, maximum effort, but they didn't. Ball comes across. Keeper, I would like to say I'm all about calling out keepers for being bad, but I don't think this is a keeper error. I think this is a little bit of a mix where like he goes for it, bump, right there, he does the right thing, but the centre-back's kind of in his way. The centre-back, again, doesn't read the situation because I think the centre-back puts the keeper off, making the keeper look like he's made an error. What's the centre-back doing? I mean, he's running. This is the point. Both of these centre-backs do not read this situation or identify what's going on in any way here. Otherwise, there is no goal. Absolutely none. One, when that ball's played in, before the ball's played in behind, the centre-back's saying, no, go mark him. No, instead of you pointing your arm, if you had sprinted over and covered for that area, you would have already won the football, but you didn't. Second thing is, you didn't even read our keeper was coming out here, and if you did and you were out of his way, he probably would have picked it up, but he's too busy worried about clattering into his defender to worry about catching the ball. So if you'd paid any attention there, none of this would have happened, right? Oh yeah, did Rashford also give the ball away? Yeah. Did the centre midfielder also over pressure and loot? Yeah. So there's loads and loads of errors along the way, but the only one anyone will talk about is Rashford error, and the reason that that's the only one they'll really talk about, it's because the only one that they can see. They can't see and identify all these other problems. They're unaware that they're all existing. Now here's Hakimi, the right back. I do like Hakimi, always have done. Comes in and he just gets himself a little tap in for a finish. Decent goal. Keeper almost gets there as well though, but let's move it on. You know that problem I was explaining a moment ago about the central midfielders coming too far up into situations to pressure the ball and leaving gaping space behind them? Have a guess what happens for the next goal for Villa? Sorry, for PSG that Villa gets scored on. Same thing. Now, this is a simple... if you watch my warm-ups when I talk about third man running and third man overlapping and third man runs, this is a classic example. Villa actually score a goal doing the same thing. And it's the same simple pattern of play. You can call it up, back and through, but it's a little bit different because this guy's on the run. So as the ball's getting played, all he's doing is knocking it back. 1-2 Villa players running into each other, because guess why? Whoever this is pressuring should never, ever have been there in the first place. Ever. Should have been back. Look at how much space there is, right? When we draw this little line, there's masses and acres of space. He should have been sitting about there and just waiting for the play to develop. One of the key things is when you're sitting there waiting for the play to develop is you're still moving, you're still shuffling, but you're picking a direction. Chances normally are the direction is backwards where you're safe. So you're shuffling to where the ball is. So the ball's in front of you 20 odd yards. You want to be shuffling so you're in line with the ball, but you're shuffling backwards. So if anyone's making a play, you can step forward and go for it. If you're shuffling and going forwards, the space is opening up behind you. You're going to cause yourself a massive problem. So here we go. Bump there, simple pass. Now, as he's received it, I want you to watch this, right? I want you to watch this. There is no way those two players should be pressuring that ball where there is no one in the middle of the field here. That's the reason they get to run at them. There's also another reason. I'll see if I can show you the highlight. Unfortunately, they don't show you everything that I want to show you, because there's I think it's Dembele's right here. And in the entire attack going on here, he is staying high and wide here, and someone else is high, I don't know who he is, high and wide up there, making the centre-backs and everybody make decisions. What are those decisions? Well, we can't go forward and we can't do certain things. That's the main reason you know that this central midfielder can't go in pressure. He can't be going and getting involved with a high press or whatever nonsense. Is because there's two players sitting on either side of your flanks that are pinning you back. And if your left and your right backs have both gone, which they have in this case for Villa, you as the central midfielder are sitting back waiting to make sure that you can cover both of those sides. You can't afford to get involved in that nonsense, what's going on in the field, in their half anyway. In this situation, you've just got a 4v2 chances are they're going to score. I mean, as long as they just don't do something stupid. What's the stupid things? Force the pass to be offside, force yourself on a 1v1 situation, Marcus Rashford. You just keep moving the ball, an opportunity will arrive. Classic though, look, I want the ball to go there. His focus goes with the player that's making the run. Ball never goes there. It's just a decoy run, which is really good. I mean, it's really good. And because everyone's focused on the decoy run, even the players that are coming back, you can be free on top of the box and just hit the target. And remember, you've got to understand how quick and fast paced this is happening. So it's not like they can stop, take a cup of tea, make a decision. The decisions have to be this quick. That's why they're ingrained. That's why when you're not actually cognitively stopping and making a decision, it's all reactionary to be how you've been trained. People use this term loosely called muscle memory, and they don't really understand what it means. But it is kind of muscle memory. It's cognitive memory what you want, actually. So you're cognitively making decisions without making decisions. Your body's doing stuff because it understands and reads the situation, and you know how to react to that situation because you've dealt with it 100 times and you know what you're doing. Here, none of that happens. Takes a touch, smashes it in the goal. It's actually a really good finish. The way the ball's bouncing, he gets it just as the ball's coming down and he whips it in. Does a really good job on the finish. This is the clip I wanted to show you actually about why that's. Look how high they are. Look at how open this midfield is. Look at that. That is the reason they've scored on. He's got no real choice. He should be further back. By the way, it wouldn't matter where he is anyway. It doesn't make any difference. But can you see the difference with having players put up here and you overcommitting players? You cannot afford to do this. You needed to be right there. I don't know what you're doing up there. That tell you right now is the reason that they've scored a goal is because you've gone way too far up the field. Anyone at any level will be able to outpass you at some point if you're leaving a massive. By the way, they didn't even have to pass the ball there. Right, all they could have done was just put the ball into that space there and said, "Go on, mate, go for a run and run onto it." They didn't have to do the little intricate passing to get it to there. You could have just gone, "Go on, off you go." Yeah, that, but the rain's coming down really hard here. That is why you keep players high and wide, though. That is absolutely the reason you do it, because it forces defenders to make decisions. And look how split they are. Yeah. Villa actually played quite well in the first half in bits. After that, say the first 20 minutes of complete destruction and lack of understanding of how to keep themselves in a Champions League game in the first 25 minutes, not concede 2 goals. Other than that, yeah, they're great. But I want you to watch this little sort of interaction here. So 1 is giving the ball to 2, and then we're playing in with 3 here. This is a third man overlapping, but it's interesting because a lot of people don't understand what you mean by that. They've got this picture in their head and it has to be this certain way. Well, this is how we train it, so this is how it has to be. No. It doesn't work like that. What it is the player movement and the ball movement. So think of it this way. When he hands off the ball to the player, does he run into space? Because that's what you're really doing. When you're doing that overlap, you're running into space, okay? So does he do that? Yeah. So watch, bump, off he goes, start running into space. Well, is he running into space? Yeah, he is. So as soon as Rashford's given it, I think he's given it to, I think it's McGinn here. As soon as he's given the ball, off he goes running into the space. And the reason why this is important, as soon as you've given the ball, because PSG do this all the time, by the way, you have movement. Remember what movement means? Runners. Energy. So as soon as you start moving into that space, as he does, it creates another space somewhere else. It creates all the players watching what he's doing, which opens up everything for Tielemans here. So when this pass comes across, Tielemans has got all the time in the world. Bit of a lucky goal, does take a deflection. I think Donnarumma would have had it. It's not a great strike by Tielemans, but it's a lucky strike, and he'll take it all day to the bank because Villa needed a bit of luck to get back in it, and that's what they got. Okay, so I might actually also show you this, right? So this is where the defender's body shape is. He is facing that way. Can we see that? There's his shoulders. That's where he's looking. When he scores the goal, his shoulders are here, and he's facing that way. He turns. He actually flicks the ball into the goal. Advertently, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of right now. This happens a lot, though. You see it in walls. You see it when anyone takes a strike at the goal. Defenders are cowards and they turn, and when they turn their body, it changes the angle that the ball bounces off, and that's why the own goals are scored. Look, watch. Look. He's facing his. Just turned. If he just let it hit him in the chest, it wouldn't have gone in. He didn't. He turned, smacks it into his own goal because he turns his shoulders. That's how important it is not to turn your shoulders, because then you're just a flat surface that's hitting against and bouncing off, instead of a flat surface that you're turning towards the goal and having it flick into the goal. Shocking. Yeah, if you want to be a good defender, don't be a coward. This is the McGinn goal. I'm just going to show you from where the point of the field where he picks it up, and he just runs all the way down the field. Again, nobody has bothered to challenge him. It is this thing in modern football where you're allowed the football. No one's going to tackle you because, well, we've all got to jump back into our shape, and he's not my player. This is the guy that's supposed to tackle him, so we let him do it and not somebody else. But all of a sudden, two players react, and I do like this as well from Paris Saint-Germain. I normally say just before the 18-yard box, which is exactly at the point of contact where they make it. So this is what I say. If there isn't pressure on the ball, you don't let it go past this point, because this is where you're getting into the 18-yard box and there's going to be a problem, and you can't challenge now because you're going to give away a free kick or a penalty because you're in the box. So you have to do it before then. If they're running with the ball, this is the sort of area you want to take them down. This is the sort of area you want to tackle. And what it ends up doing, there's a little nick on the ball as it goes over. Donnarumma, don't like his attitude on that. Even if it's going in, I still want my keeper to look like he's put some effort in. He's just going, ugh. Like, put your hand up, mate. Try to win the ball for us. I know you can't because it's a bit of a deflection that's gone over you. It's got that looping dip on it. But at least make it look like that you're trying for us. We're just going to do a quick bit on the bazillion goals that Villa should have scored. Now, this isn't good enough from Rashford, right? That is where the ball is. This is the area. Well, actually, it's about a little bit more than that. That's about the area that he normally would put it in, and that's where he's looking to score. This is so far off as a strike. It's easy for Donnarumma. If he hit it like he normally would anywhere over here, that's a simple goal for him. That's what he's good at, running down a bit, turning it in and kicking it a bit. He's completely fluffed his lines, but it's too close to the keeper. Keeper makes a save. He does create this second goal, and he does really well on it as well. But just have a little look, and look at how PSG are pretty much perfect. They're pretty much done. Two players blocking the cutback as Rashford takes it to the line. This is why it's so important that you use those extra 5 yards. Watch what happens as he goes closer to the line. Do you see the player pulls away and it opens up that lane for him to pass to? If he hadn't gone to the byline there, he still would have been stood right there, and that ball wouldn't have been able to get through because he would have cut it out. That's the importance of an extra 2 or 3 yards. Screaming for it on top of the box. Cross, Bosch, thank you very much. On we go. Now, at this point, when the third goal went in, I thought, well, it isn't that PSG, sorry, that Aston Villa was so good. It was also that the PSG already assumed that they were into the finals, into the semi-final. They just took their foot off the gas completely. And then they had to sort of build their way back into it. And they were struggling to do so. This is where Villa really should have got another goal. They had loads of time left. They had loads of possession. They had loads of more opportunities. And it's just a little bit of composure and finishing. And if they had that, they would have been through. They would have absolutely been through because they were so close at this point. When you've got somebody on the ropes, you keep going until you knock them out. And they didn't. They let off a little bit. That might be the fact that they've not been in these situations or in these Champions Leagues, which is a huge factor because there is a lot of emotion going on in these games. They're trying something that most of these players might not ever be in again. So they don't know that, this is where you flatten them and you go again. But yeah. Just before we call it a day, I'm just going to show you the Tielemans chance here as well. Again, is the same as the Marcus Rashford. He puts it so close to the keeper. It makes it easy for Donnarumma. It's nowhere near far enough away from him for it to go in. It's just laziness, really. Look how close that is for him. Donnarumma's stretching to get there. Half a yard over. He's got himself a goal. This is, I think, the worst. Well, it's not actually. I think the header's the worst one. This is the second worst one because there's so many chances for Villa to have gone through here. They can sort of, I don't know, if you're a Villa fan, you might just be annoyed that the fact that you should have gone, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but then you're happy because you beat PSG, you're probably the best team in Europe. Well, it's really, really hard place to be in. But this from Marcus Asensio, he should have scored this. I know he's going against his old, loan E club, which is kind of strange that he's allowed to play against them in the Champions League. But yeah, we'll save that for another day. This should have been a goal. Should have been a goal. Finishing here is not good enough. Just straight at Donnarumma, could have gone through the legs, around him, beaten him, done anything he wanted because he's got all the skill in the world and chooses to kick it at him instead. I don't know how he misses this header. I really don't. It's right on the money. I'd normally say I was taking his eyes off it. Would have something happened? He hasn't. He's looking dead at it the whole time. Completely and utterly whiffs it. This is the one you want. And look at the time. Perfect. Go on and win it. And completely whiffs it. I suppose when you've had those amount of chances as well, and you're a Villa, your energy starts going down. I think it's it depends on the team as well, because in my teams, the ones I played for and I've coached for so many years, these are the opportunities that make us angrier, and we go harder and harder and harder and harder to get the goal. But there's a lot of teams that I know that when they have opportunities like this and they don't convert them, what they end up doing is go, oh, our chance is gone now. We're not going to win. Yeah, you can sometimes feel that in some teams. But other than that, let me know what you think in the comments below. I always never ask for likes and subscribes and all that. We just see how it goes. And I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.